For those who don't know, Takashi Iizuka has confirmed that there are no plans to remake any of the adventure games as it stands. This came out, I would say, probably about 5 or 6 days ago. And a lot of people might be feeling disappointed or what have you, but this video is going to focus on my take with this. I'll read the article to you and you can do with it as you will. Iizuka, who directed both Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, is frequently asked by fans to remake the two beloved games, but he told Shacknews the effort required would be better spent on new games. "I do hear that a lot," said Iizuka. "I really am appreciative of everyone who likes the Sonic Adventure series, but when I think about what it would take to bring that game up to the standards and expectations of what the modern gaming audience would want, I think it would be about as much time and energy as it would to make a new title. From where I'm standing, you do have to take this with a little bit of consideration. Firstly, there's nothing saying that Iizuka wouldn't change his mind, say, 5 to 8 years down the road, right? Opinions are subject to change, philosophies, everything of that sort, right? What holds true now may not in that time, and even if it does, the most important thing we gotta do is understand why and ultimately respect that decision. The why to me is as clear as day. Here's a very good question for Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure 1. Both games are built on the foundation of jank. Not being the most polished, but the game actually being better for that aforementioned reason. So, in essence, in the big 2-5, if you were to put out a remake for these games, is it more worth it to polish those games so they are less buggy, but it takes away that fun and thrill of what made the original Adventure 1 and 2 so good in the first place? Or do you retain some of that bugginess, but the overall quality of your game, at least in an objective sense, is worse off? That's something that'd have to be considered, and for that reason alone, I could see why Iizuka would kind of scratch his head at this one. It's also worth noting that Sonic Team doesn't exactly have a great track record with remakes and remasters. You look at Sonic Colors Ultimate, and while the pixel counts are up, nothing else really is. The game looks worse technically speaking, it's not the most polished. The features in there are nice, but it's not enough to really justify buying Colors a second time. If you look at Sonic Generations, well, you're already taking what I would call a 9 out of 10 game, and by improving the visuals and ensuring that it's not a broken mess, you took a 9 and increased it to a 9.1. So I'd argue that it didn't really need a remaster in the quality sense, but let's be honest, it was a smart business decision just because people would be paying for Generations again, solely because of how good it was. And including Shadow Generations was an S-tier move. Just saying. I digress about that, however. Relaying all that information back to whether an adventure remake is justified to make or not, I don't know. I think Adventure 1 and 2 thrive off of their jankiness, and you can't really have that in the 2020s anymore. It's just looked down upon as a whole. It would be so divisive on how to make a proper remake to Adventure 1 and 2 that's... it might be better to focus on Adventure 3 instead, which Iizuka actually gave a little bit of rise to. Further, last year Iizuka stated there were no plans for Sonic Adventure 3 or Chao Garden game either, but said we'd love to make it. I personally love this standpoint. Obviously, Iizuka is not obligated to make Adventure 3 if he doesn't see fit, but what's great is that it's not off the table, not necessarily anyway, and it would make more sense to make an Adventure 3 because there's no comparison bias, there's nothing that you have to follow in the footsteps of. Instead, you make your own. It's a little bit disappointing to hear that they currently don't have it on their radar, but they are listening, and this confirms that, which is a sign of any great company behind these games. And furthermore, ultimately, just leave it to the fans. We got this shit covered. There's some people trying to remake Adventure 2, we have Project 06 and Unleashed recompiled. I mean, the fan base here is an unstoppable force sometimes. And I'm sure if push really comes to shove, the fan base will unite and make these two miracles happen if that's what everybody wants. A lot of people like to bash on Sonic fans because we allegedly don't know what we want, we contradict ourselves, whatever the hell, but no other fan base does shit like this. At least not in the way that Sonic fans do it. So, maybe for every big flaw that we have a really good up. I don't know. And even then, even if we didn't have fans remaking games from the ground up because they care about these games so passionately, I care about Adventure 2 passionately enough that I can accept it not being remade. I understand the fundamentals of why it isn't so, and honestly, maybe it's best that way. And that's not to say I don't trust Sonic Team to do a good job, because I have a lot of belief in them. It's just doing this job is so divisive, there's no correct way to roll out these remasters if they were to ever happen, and that's probably the risk that Iizuka is accounting for. But when I look at their catalog, Sonic Frontiers in 22, I loved Frontiers. No doubt about that. Second favorite Sonic game right behind Adventure 2. Very content with it. Then we got Sonic Generations Remastered and Shadow Generations in 24. Both were great games, stood pretty much toe-to-toe with each other. Both were 9 out of 10s, if not Shadow Generations was super close. Very good stuff. In 25, we get Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and for me personally, I've never been big into Sonic's racing games, so I probably won't be purchasing that, but for anybody who does enjoy that style, I'm sure it's a huge win for you guys. But the point is, Sonic Team has done a really good job in earning a lot of trust that it has lost over the 2010s. And so, I do trust them to do a good job with this remaster, it's just, there wouldn't be an exact roadmap on how to do it right. And that divisiveness is what would kill them in the end, because you know that as soon as an Adventure 1 or 2 or both remakes roll out, remasters, whatever you want to call them, you know somebody is going to be disappointed somewhere along the line. For me, if I never get to play Sonic Adventure 2 Remake, specifically Adventure 2, because you know that's my game, I'm not going to be upset in the slightest. I completely accept this decision with open arms. I think that ultimately it's the best for Sonic Adventure 2's legacy, unless they somehow figure out a way to basically perfect a formula that makes everybody happy in the modern times, but that's a super hard task to ask of anyone, and I wouldn't dare do that to them. So, Sonic Team, if you somehow are ever going to listen to this, which given the size of my channel is highly unlikely, I totally support your decision. Whatever you want to do with Adventure 1 and 2 is totally up to you, but you've made one fan very proud of the game that you made back in 2001, and if that means I gotta stick with this for the rest of time, I will do exactly as such. For the rest of you, however, have a wonderful day, take care for now, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.